Hello and good morning to everyone. My name is Alok Sharma and you're watching Ficon classes. Let's hit the concepts. So till now in kinematics we have covered what is the rest and motion, the difference between rest and motion, different kinds of coordinate system, what is reference plane. These things we have discussed in the previous lecture, and now in this lecture what we are going to do is we are going to start motion in one dimension, and we will be seeing what is momentum of a particle. So in motion in one direction, the thing is the particle is going to move in just one direction or a straight line path. If a particle is moving in a straight line path, then the kinematics of that particle, that means velocity, speed, distance, acceleration, all these things we can study assuming it to be in one dimension. So in one dimensional motion, the main thing is the particle is going to be moving in one direction or in a straight line path. Understand? So if it is a curvy, then it will become two dimensional. Okay, so we'll be discussing one dimensional thing in this particular lecture, and I'll be taking some examples from H.C. Verma book. So if you don't know about H.C. Verma book, then let me tell you. So there is a physics book, and the title of that book is Concept of Physics. It is written by Dr. H.C. Verma. He is professor from IIT Kanpur, and that book is really good. It is going to cover your IIT JEE advanced level also. If you want to have a good grip in physics, then you must purchase that book and you must read that book. Okay, so let us start.
Momentum. So in 10th class also you must have studied what is momentum. Momentum of a body is defined as the product of mass of the body with the velocity with which it is moving. So here in this diagram you can see that this particle is having a mass of m, it is moving with a velocity of v1, then the momentum possessed by the body is going to be m into v1. That means product of mass and its velocity. So now here among mass and velocity, you can notice that velocity is a vector quantity. So what you can write, that mass multiplied with velocity vector is going to be momentum, and hence momentum will also be a vector quantity. Understand? Why? Because velocity is a vector quantity, momentum will also be a vector quantity, and the momentum is denoted with P capital, and if you want to denote vector momentum, then P with a arrowhead. Okay, so it's a vector quantity. This thing we need to take care of. Why? Because when you are adding momentum or subtracting it, in that time you have to think of that it is a vector quantity. So vector addition, subtraction, multiplication, these things are valid. Okay, normally simple algebra is not valid for calculation for any kind of operations on momentum. Why? Because it is a vector quantity. Understand? So here also you can see this P is equals to m into v, where now here you can see that a rhinoceros, it's moving with the momentum p. So actually what happens now, why this diagram I'm showing it here is, this mass of this particular animal is very high. Mass of this particular animal is very high. If it is moving with very high velocity, mass itself is very high. If it is moving with a high velocity, then momentum is going to be much higher. A very high momentum this body will possess. Now think of mosquito. Think of a mosquito. Now if mosquito is flying with the velocity same as rhinoceros, even then mosquito will not have that much of momentum. Why? Because the mass of mosquito is very less. Mass is very less. So for having a higher momentum, mass should be high, velocity should be high. If any one of it is high, then momentum will be high. But if any one of it is very low, momentum will be low, because it is a product of mass and velocity. Understand? So now here I am giving you one question, that let's suppose the mass of rhinoceros is 1.5 tons, 1.5 tons, and the velocity with which it is moving is 36 kilometers per hour. Now in this case, you have to find out what will be the momentum possessed by rhinoceros in meters per second. So you will have to convert the unit. Okay, not kg meters per second, kg meters per second. In this unit you have to find out the answer, what will be the momentum. Just write down in your comment. Okay, So let's discuss a little bit about distance and displacement. We have already discussed about this thing, that distance is a scalar quantity, displacement is a vector quantity. And let's suppose I have a path like this. A person moves from point A to point B, then the distance and the actual path taken is this curvy path. So this total distance traveled using this path that is shown here is going to be the distance. But if I want to find out the displacement between A and B, then I will have to find out the minimum distance between it. And minimum distance can be found out by straight line joining the 2 points. So this straight line joining the 2 points, this will give you displacement, and this line is going to give you tell you about distance. Understand? So this thing we have seen. Now we are going to solve this problem. An old person moves on a semicircular track. So here I have shown a circular track. Just remove half of the portion. Remove half of the portion. Now in this green portion, this person is moving. Okay. So it's a track of 40 meters. Radius is 40 meters. So this particular distance is 40 meters. Okay. Now during a morning walk, he is moving. If he starts at one of its ends, let's suppose he starts from this end. This is A, and reaches the other end, and on the other end the person is reaching that point. I am taking it as B. Find the distance and displacement covered by the person. Now how will you find out the distance and displacement covered by the person? See, from A to B, when the person is moving in a semicircular path, the actual path traced is going to be like this, right? So if I want to find out the distance is going to be the length of this semicircle, right? Distance is going to be length of semicircle, and semicircle length, if you remember, that is equals to pi into radius, pi r. So it will be pi into, what is the radius given? 40 meters. 40 meters. So if you solve it, you will find it approximately equals to 126 meters. That is the distance traveled by the person. If I want to find out the displacement, how will you find out the displacement? So displacement is the shortest distance between 2 points, right? It is the shortest distance between 2 points. So shortest distance is going to be a straight line joining A and B. The length of straight line joining A and B. So if you join point A and point B, then you will find that it is exactly same as the diameter. It is exactly same as the diameter, and radius is already given. So can you find out the diameter? So diameter is equals to 2 times of radius. That will be equals to 2 into 40 meters, and hence the displacement of the person is 80 meters. Displacement is 80 meters and distance is 126 meters. Understand? Okay. Now come to average and instantaneous speed. So average and instantaneous thing we have discussed previously also. Now we are going to see how we can write the formula for those things. Average thing is going to be, the average speed is defined as delta S divided by delta T, where delta S is the distance traveled, and delta T is the time taken. So if you take total distance covered divided by total time taken, so it is going to give you average speed. Average speed it is going to give you. Okay. Now here about instantaneous, I have already told you one thing, that average is for a long duration, but instantaneous is for that particular time. Instantaneous velocity or speed is going to be the speed for a particular time, a fixed time. If I ask you, a person starts moving or on a bike, let's suppose, and after 5 seconds, what is its velocity? So after 5 seconds means now you have to find out the velocity of his bike exactly at 5 seconds. So when this kind of thing is asked, then you have to find out the instantaneous velocity. Now the another way of asking question could be, he starts from point A, reaches point B, and the time taken is let's suppose 10 minutes, and the total distance covered is 5 kilometers. What will be the average speed? Now in this case, average speed is asked, means total distance divided by total time taken. That will be the average speed. But instantaneous means if somebody is asking exactly at 10 minutes, what was its speed, or exactly at 60 seconds, what was the speed of the vehicle? So this kind of question makes that the speed is going to be instantaneous. For a particular time, if somebody is asking, that is going to be instantaneous thing, and for instantaneous thing, the time has to be very, very small, and that very, very small time is nothing but differential time written as dt. That means when delta t tends to 0, then delta t can be written as dt. So dt by ds is going to give you instantaneous speed, and this ds by dt, ds by dt is going to give you instantaneous speed, and I have already explained you that ds by dt is nothing but the slope of s and t curve. S and t means distance and time curve. If you are plotting, then at a particular point, if you take a slope, then the slope of this curve, slope means this is going to be theta, this length is going to be ds, this length is going to be dt. Now this ds by dt, that means tan theta is slope, that will be equals to ds by dt. So at a particular point, any point, if you find out ds by dt value, that is going to be the instantaneous speed. Understand? Now based on this formula, we are going to solve an example from H.C. Verma book. So here we have the example. See, the distance traveled by particle in time t is given by s is equals to 2.5 meter per second square into time square. Now for this relation is given for distance at any particular time. What is the distance traveled by the particle? That is given here. Okay, now you have to find out the average speed of the particle during time 0 to 5 seconds. That means in first 5 seconds, what is the average speed that we need to find out? So if we can calculate, if we can find out the distance traveled in 5 seconds, then we can easily find out the average speed. Average speed is going to be total distance traveled in 5 seconds divided by total time, that is 5 seconds. Okay, so to find out average speed, we need to find out total distance covered divided by total time taken. Right? So total distance covered will be equals to distance covered at 5 seconds minus distance covered at 0 seconds divided by time taken is going to be time at 5 seconds minus time at 0 seconds. Understand? So how will you find out s at 5 seconds or s at 0 seconds? S at 5 seconds is going to be the t value, you have to put it as 5 because t is representing time, right? Here. So 2.5 meter per second square into time square, and time is 5 square. So that is going to give you the displacement at this point. Okay. Now next, s at 0, if you want to find out, then it will be 2.5 into 0 square. So 0 square is 0. That means this is going to be 0 meters. Understand? So when you calculate this one, this is 25, this is 25, so 625, that means 62.5 meters. Right? This will be 62.5 meters. Now to find out delta s, so delta s is going to be 62.5 meters divided by what is the time taken total from 0 seconds to 5 seconds. What will be the total time taken? 5 seconds minus 0 seconds, that will be 5 only. Understand? So this is going to be 5 ones are 5 2s are 5 5s are. So 12.5 is going to be average speed. Average speed is going to be 12.5 meters per second. Understand? This thing is clear. To find out average, you need to find out total distance divided by total time taken. Now, just I'm rubbing it off. Okay, so you can just take it down, stop the video and take it down. Now, for second thing, to find out f instantaneous, that means instantaneous speed, we need to find out ds divided by dt. So here f equation is already given, so it will be d by dt of 2.5 t square. Clear? So 2.5 is a constant thing, so we can take it out of the differentiation, and then d by dt of t square. So d by dt of t square, do you remember x to the power n formula? N x to the power n minus 1. That is the differentiation, right? So here it will be 2.5 and 2t is going to be the differentiation of that. So here it is going to be 2 into 2.5 is 5t. So 5t, and at which particular time they are asking instantaneous speed at t is equals to 5. So put t is equals to 5 here. So this will be 5 into 5, 25 meters per second. So at 5 seconds, the velocity of the particle is 25 meters per second. That is instantaneous velocity at t is equals to 5 seconds. Understand? Okay. Now coming to motion in one dimension. So I have already told you that motion in one dimension relates with when the particle moves in a straight line. So what are the different kinds of motion we discussed? There were total 4 kinds of motion: straight line motion, and then circular motion, rotational motion, and vibratory motion. So this straight line motion is nothing but one dimensional motion. When a particle is moving in a straight path, then we can study the kinematics of the particle as the motion in one dimension. Understand? Now here in one dimension, this question, we are going to take this question to understand it even in better way. Okay, so a particle moves along x-axis in such a way that its coordinates in x varies with time t according to the equation x is equals to 2 minus 5t plus 6t square. What will be its velocity, initial velocity? That's the question asked. So we can just find out the equation of velocity. Now at any time you can find out the velocity, right? If you convert the equation of x into the equation of v, that means for velocity, then you just have to put the value of time and get the velocity. Understand? Now here, see this thing, x is given. X is given as x is equals to 2 minus 5t plus 6t square. So this x is written in terms of time. That means position is a function of time. And it is quadratic equation here. It is okay. Now, what is the formula for velocity? How velocity is defined? Velocity is the change in position divided by change in time. Or we can write that when time is very small, then we can write dx divided by dt. Are you understanding this thing? Velocity is rate change of position. That means dx by dt will also be the velocity formula. That is instantaneous velocity. Clear? Now I am going to derivate this particular equation of x with respect to time. So when I am derivating this, then this will become dx divided by dt here, and on the right hand side, derivation of 2, d by dt of 2 minus d by dt of 5t plus d by dt of 6t square. Clear? Now for a constant value, the differentiation becomes 0. We have already seen this thing. Now for this 5t, this 5 can be taken out of the differentiation, and then differentiation of dt by dt, right? Plus again 6 can be taken out of the differentiation, then it will be dt square divided by dt. Clear? So now this is going to be minus 5, and dt both are going to be cancelled, right? dt and dt can be cancelled, so it will be minus 5 plus 6 into, what is the differentiation of t square? So t square is in the format of x to the power n. For x to the power n, the differentiation is n x to the power n minus 1. So that will be 2 t to the power 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So the answer is going to be 2t. Correct? So the final answer here is minus 5 plus 12t. That is the equation for velocity. dx by dt is nothing but what? Velocity. So the velocity equation now we have. And the question here is asking that what will be the initial velocity? By initial, actually it means when time is 0. At the starting time, time is 0. When the race is being started means the time we will be taking as 0. When anything is being starting means the time we will be taking it as 0. So initial velocity means at the start, what will be the velocity when time was 0. So when time was 0, here you can find out when time was 0, v0 we can calculate. It will be minus 5 plus 12 into what? 0 seconds. So this answer is going to be minus 5 meters per second. Whatever is the equation given here, this none of the units Initial velocity V0 is going to be minus 5 with some unit. We don't know what is the unit. Okay. So relative velocity concept. So this concept is very, very important and very, very interesting. In this particular lecture, we will be limiting our discussion on relative velocity concept up to one dimension only. But this particular slide that you are watching, this formula is valid for 2 dimension, 3 dimension, for everything. Okay. For 2 dimension also it is valid. Okay. But for 1 dimension, we will be solving the questions in this particular lecture. Okay. Now, see, relative velocity is, let's suppose, see this thing you see. If both of the assume it to be trains or any vehicle, if both of this pen move with same velocity, if they are both are moving with same velocity, then relatively the position of these 2 pens for each other is not changing. Understand? If both are moving with same velocity, relatively the position of one pen with respect to another pen is not changing. That means we can say that if both the bodies are moving with the same velocity, then the relative velocity of one pen with respect to another pen will be 0. Relative velocity of second pen with respect to first pen, that will also be 0. Now think of, if one pen is moving in positive x direction, one pen is moving in negative x direction. Now these two are going to have some velocity, relative velocity. Why? Because the relative position is changing. Clear? Now if one is not moving, another one is moving. Is there any relative velocity between them? Yeah, because the position is changing with respect to each other. The position is changing. Now think of, one body is not moving, the another body is moving. Now, do we have any kind of relative motion between them? Yeah. But when both of them are either at rest or they are moving with same velocity in same direction, then they will not have any kind of relative velocity between them. Now, keeping this thing in mind, this normal formula in vector term, it is given that relative velocity of one particle with respect to another particle. How do we write relative velocity of one body with respect to another body? So here you can see the relative velocity of object A with respect to object B is given. It is written, this standard format of writing, you must keep it in mind. Okay, VAB, vector VAB means velocity of A with respect to B. Always this sequence of A and B, that really matters a lot. Okay, so if you are writing VBA, then this is going to be velocity of B with respect to A. AB means velocity of A with respect to B. Understand? And similarly, the formula is also going to change. For VAB, the velocity is VA minus VB, vector format. Okay, for VBA, the relative velocity of B with respect to A will be VB minus VA. Understand? So this is very simple thing, but you need to take care of this thing. Okay, A and B, the sequencing is going to matter a lot. If you are writing A then B, that means velocity of A with respect to B. If you are writing VBA, then velocity of B with respect to A. To find out, it is going to be VA minus VB for VAB, and for VBA it is going to be VB minus VA. Okay, now how to find out VA minus VB? So this subtraction of vectors we have seen in this basic mathematics, right? If you have not watched that video, if you have not seen that video, then just go to the basic mathematics part and just watch it. Okay, relative velocity, this subtraction, vector subtraction, vector addition, you must watch it. Now let me just tell you that if VA is like this, VA it is like this, and VB is like this. This is VB, straight line. Now if I want to find out VA plus VB, then what I need to do? As per the triangle law, I should bring this point of vector at the head of vector A, right? And then I should draw it like this. I should not change the direction. Direction must remain the same. This will be VB. Then VA plus VB is going to be this particular vector, closing vector. You remember or not? VA plus VB is going to be this closing vector, right? This is VA plus VB. This thing you remember, I think. I think you remember this thing. Now to find out VA minus VB, what we need to do? What we need to do is draw VA, then draw V of minus VB. How to draw minus VB? If VB is like this, it is shown this one. If this is VB, then V minus VB will be in downward direction, just opposite direction. This will be minus VB. Now to find out VA minus VB, draw VA, then draw VB like this in negative direction. That means it is minus VB. And then the closing vector is going to give you what? And then the closing vector, this vector is going to give you VA minus VB. This is going to give you VA minus VB. Understand? Understand or not? So this is another method. This diagram that is shown here, this is another method. Here we are not drawing one vector starting from the end of another vector. No, this is not following that rule. Here two vectors are starting from one point only. This is A, and this is B. Then VA minus VB, or vector A minus vector B, will be opposite. It will start from B head portion and it will end at head of A. It will end at the head of A. Clear? So this way also you can take, or better to go with the convention. This conventional method we already know. Why to just, this is going to confuse you, okay? So better to stick with the conventional method. Okay, now coming to one-dimensional relative velocity concept, we are going, I'm going to take some example for that, okay? Now, okay, now coming here, see. Okay, relative velocity in 1D. So one problem I am going to solve, the another problem you have to answer in comment. Okay, so this thing of, I have taken two trains, train A and train B. Train A is moving in the positive x direction with the velocity of 5 meters per second. Train B is moving with the velocity of 10 meters per second in the same direction. That means if I want to write what is VA, then it will be 5 in plus. Okay, what is VB here? It will be 10. And unit you can also write meters per second, fine. Now here what will be VA? VA is going to be 5 meters per second because it is in forward direction. What will be VB? That is velocity of train B. What will be VB? Now the velocity is just in the opposite direction, so I can write minus 10 meters per second. Are you understanding this thing? Because it's one dimensional, I can take I can utilize directly the what do we call it? This magnitude. You can directly use it. And with positive or negative sign, we will be understanding whether it is in positive direction or negative direction. Okay. Now, formula for VAB coming here. For this question, I am solving this question. You have to answer. This will be your homework. Okay. Now, VAB is defined as vector A minus vector B. What is VAB is representing? Tell me. VAB means velocity of A with respect to B. That means VAB, that is going to be, what is VA value? VA is 5 meters per second, minus of VB is 10 meters per second. Correct? So this is going to be minus 5 meters per second. Relative velocity of A with respect to B is minus 5 meters per second. That implies that for the person who is sitting on train B, he will find that train A is moving in the backward direction with a velocity of 5 meters per second. Understand? Now here for B, VBA means velocity of B with respect to A, that is going to be VB minus VA. Right? VB minus VA. VB minus VA. Now what is the value of VB? VB is 10 meters per second minus VA is 5 meters per second. So the final answer is going to be 5 meters per second. To A, that means if you are sitting in A and you are watching B, then you will find that B is moving with 5 meters per second in forward direction. Understand? So that is the conceptual thing. You will, if you just think of it in deeper, then you will be getting the idea.